it feels like this invisible load that Josh and we've been carrying it differently, but both of us have been carrying a very heavy weight.
Even as at my most success, I remember staring at the wall, contemplating if I should be on this planet or not, or if the money I would leave for my kids would be more important.
You can't have it all at once. And I think I'm glad we're like circling back here to this invisible load.
It finally kind of just came to me that, like, okay, ego aside, what can we do as a female-owned business? What have I seen the amazing, my wife, Rachel B. Lee, do with me having to play that 100% dad role for a while? And it was nothing short of amazing.
Hey, everyone.
We're back.
We're back. Another episode of
YOUmanize Your Brand with Rachel and Joshua B. Lee.
Ugh.
No, you don't like my...
No, I love it. I love when you do your Joshua B. Lee.
Okay.
So I did a post a little bit ago around the mental load and being just in like total breakdown overload. And it was amazing the response I got as a woman.
And I did a post about the mental breakdown of a man and a husband, and they were like, suck it up, dude. No, I didn't do the post. But, you know, it's potentially could be like that.
Well, that's exactly what we want to talk about today, because being a woman in business and a mother and working with your husband and doing
that's Joshua B. Lee.
Joshua B. Lee. I mean, there's like a lot to handle here.
Because when Rachel first kicked off with me and like that, she was like, you know what? I'm fine being the Miss Rachel or Miss Joshua B. Lee until I don't need you anymore. So, you know, I get it.
That is how I felt a couple years ago. But now, you know.
So you're saying it's a fact.
Yes.
You leveraged me till you became bigger than me.
I will continue to leverage you. And guess what? You leverage me too, baby, as a woman in business. And in fact, actually, like 40% of women-owned businesses make up all the small businesses in the US, which is pretty crazy. How much investment do those women-owned businesses get? Less than 5%. I think it's about 3%, but that's not for today's topic.
Are we going to have a topic around how now I am in my first women-owned business, female-owned business, women-owned business, female?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that was a really tough.
I don't know if it was tough.
Why don't you tell your side of that?
Well, I don't want to make sure I got to make sure I get it right, because if you tell it first, then I can add in rightly. But okay, so this is potentially a trap. So we're gonna just keep on going in. I've realized that now after, you know, multiple years of marriage, my second marriage, that sometimes they're like, oh, why don't you say it first? So yeah, I started Standout Authority, and you know, we have YOUmanize, and 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
What?
When I started Standout Authority.
You founded in 2014. Okay. Officially, it wasn't really your focus until about 2017.
So a couple years ago, you know, Rachel's been on me, inviting me, educating me on, I gotta get the words right, on, you know, how important female-owned businesses are. And I mean, of course, look, I've always been a herald of women, and really making sure they're empowered and I won't say protected, but I mean, not like
protected. We need protection.
Okay. I want to make sure you're not an endangered species. You know,
no.
I want to make sure you know how I say these things.
No,
but and I have 2 daughters, but you know, and she explained all the different opportunities that we could have as a female-owned business. Of course, first thing in my mind was, I started this freaking company. Like now you want to come in and take it from me, and it's all ego, right? Like ego. And it's interesting. I went to an event put on by a good friend of ours, David Gonzalez, and it was like, oh, let's, you know, it's all like let's do a 3-hour think tank on how to be able to do this stuff. And it really, I started into it on what we do, how we do it, how to make more money, and then it ended up in the long run, they're like, Josh, I don't think you want to run the business anymore. You love being in it, doing what you do best, but I don't know if what you do best is run that business and going through. And everything that was happening with the kids and things like that, it finally kind of just came to me that, like, okay, ego aside, what can we do as a female-owned business? What have I seen the amazing my wife, Rachel B. Lee, do with me having to play that 100% dad role for a while? And it was nothing short of amazing. So, yeah, that was a decision I gladly made as soon as I had better knowledge and I was able to remove my ego from that. And it's great because I want to show our daughters, how powerful women are in this world.
This is why I love him, right? So, yes, now Standout Authority has been technically female owned since joined, and Humanize as well is, in terms of ownership, technically fully women owned, but it doesn't really matter for Josh and I what we're at this point. It did matter in the beginning, I think, but at this point, especially with just what we're seeing and the changes, it feels like there's no time but today, but for females to have more say in the way in which we create, and especially in an AI driven world. And Humanize is a AI driven platform that it's really important that we have diversity of thinking in there, and that's not just gender, that's race,
Yeah.
that's sociographics. There's a lot of things,
Well,
but
I mean, with
anyways,
you and I coming
that's
together, I mean, we have the
yeah,
entrepreneur side, we have the corporate, we have the male, the female.
and I'm Jewish, but we're both white, and we both, we have a lot to say.
If you didn't know,
We're both white, so we're not. Yeah, all that to be said, that's not really okay. We're veering, I think. So the point is that
there's a lot of messy
consciously,
middle.
there's a lot of messy middle, and consciously, in this business, in our businesses, consciously, like there's a very strong female, there's a very strong male, and we're also very strong parents, we're
Yeah.
strong leaders. Like we do things very differently, but like we both, what I think a reason I fell in love with you is he loves so hard and so holy. When you're, and I'm the same way, like big, big love. And what that does is sometimes really take away from our own self-care, and it feels like this invisible load that Josh and we've been carrying it differently, but both of us have been carrying a very heavy weight, between what's going on in the world, challenges of the business, trying to create a new business in the midst of, as we know, our family, which our hats back here if you're watching on YouTube, is number one for us, and that's our parents, that's our extended family, and of course our direct, our babies, the 3 kids, and the 2 dogs. They're part of that family.
Ooh, we used to only get Frankie. Now she's at least giving Prince
Yeah.
his due
He's
due
now
time. He's in half our episodes, so at some point you're going to see a little black dog jump in my lap, and that's Prince.
Yeah. So I think and I think this is like you were ahead of your time. And when it comes to Josh's skill set, he's definitely always fast mover, I think, in what people think, and sometimes too quick in what you think.
I've definitely found that out
You
multiple
found
times in
it,
my
yeah.
life with
Josh
lots
is
of
sort of like
bosses.
seeing where things go, but a little like too fast. And one of the things that you wrote was balance is bullshit when I first met Josh.
Yeah.
Which is sad actually, because we want to relaunch the book and all of that will happen. But like, God, I'm so tired of like
Well, I don't think
work life
always.
balance. Ew. Oh my God. If I go to another female conference or go to anything and anybody asks me about the work life balance again, I'm gonna murder them.
Well, balance is
I don't mean that.
well, balance is unachievable, honey. And I mean
That's why you said balance is
that's
bullshit. What
said
was
that
like your thinking behind that? And you wrote that what? How many years ago at this point?
10 years ago.
You wrote it in 2015.
Yeah. Well, I
10
mean,
years ago, you had that feeling.
I don't think I published it until
it was when I met. It was around 2016.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, the original of why I wrote it and going through was because I felt that invisible load that I was holding on to because I was deemed successful in this world. And most people deem success on monetary value.
Yeah.
But I was miserably crying, dying inside because I mean, I'd done everything I was taught to be able to do, to be able to build the money, to be able to follow the money, to be able to amass the money.
Yeah.
And making money that forefront of what I was trying to do. I also then tried to balance that out with, well, if I'm going to make this much money, I've got to party just as hard and I've got to live life just as hard. And I mean, like, I was 40 pounds overweight. I mean, my relationships were monetary and no vision about where I was going. I just knew where I was at. And it was this whole aspect to the point where y'all have heard me talk, if you listen to our past episodes, that even as at my most success, I remember staring at the wall, contemplating if I should be on this planet or not, or if the money I would leave for my kids would be more important. Because everyone told, like, well, you have to have this perfect balance. Well, there is no perfect balance.
No.
And there is, I think the biggest thing that messes people up, especially I found that out after launching the book and doing a lot of talks on it, that it resonated with women a lot more than men because of all the different aspects that women take on comparably to what men do a lot of times. It's different, right?
Yeah.
Not like more or less, but different. And it was a real eye opener for me to be able to kind of go through. And we don't have, and this is something that I love that we are able to do now. I was having this conversation yesterday,
Yeah.
oddly enough, with somebody. And we were going into, and I said, look, I don't have a work life and personal life, right? That's like having two different personalities.
Yeah.
Rachel and I being together, I'm very blessed because we lived that one life, which is good. And sometimes I wouldn't say bad, but hard at
Yes.
times.
Yeah. And I was looking because there was a couple interesting stats here as you talk about
Wait, wait,
that.
you're searching the internet while we're trying to talk
Yeah,
here?
because I like stats. But actually, entrepreneurs are facing mental health crisis more than anybody
That's
else.
always been a case, though.
I
I mean,
know it.
that's
And almost 90% struggle with at least one mental health issue,
yeah.
anxiety being the most common. Increased suicide attempts. They're twice as likely to attempt suicide or be hospitalized. And many entrepreneurs have higher rates of ADHD, depression, bipolar. It's a little bit old, this study, so I'm not going to cite that because I'm a little stickler for that. And then a recent study by SoFi, this is 2024, they found that 60% of mompreneurs, moms who are also entrepreneurs,
You put anything at the back of
they
the
feel
oxymoron.
they feel judged for chasing their goals, and 80% feel guilty for not doing enough at home. And I 100% uh, feel this. I feel this 100%. And
Do you think that I feel that way? That I don't do enough at home sometimes?
do you? I don't know. Do you, when you look at that stat, that do you feel judged for chasing your business goals?
No.
No. And do you feel guilty for not doing enough at home?
I think I do more than most men at
That's
home.
not the question. Do you feel guilty for not doing enough?
No,
No. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's what the mom, we have this mom guilt. It's just different,
yeah.
you know?
I mean, look, I mean, I did over the last 2 years. I mean, I really had to focus on
Yeah.
almost 150% of my ability, and that's where I started
Time,
depleting,
physical, mental. Yeah.
because of what was going on with our kids. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess there's times, right? And that's where that balance and that shift, that integration had to come from, with you and I allowing you to be able to step up and step into the lead of what we were doing, with not only with our family, but with the team and things like that. And I don't know if everyone allows, I think allows the word. I think there's a lot of, I hate to say, there's a lot of guys out there that'll be like, well, you can't do, I can do it all. And then that's where you have this, especially you'll have the suicide rate, you'll have the burden. And I mean, I maybe I shouldn't go into this, but I mean, I look at my first marriage, and honestly, there was a lot of things that I thought that were going on,
Hmm.
and I thought I was protecting my family from, because I was bearing the weight, and I probably should have been more open with
Yeah.
that, because I not only was hurting myself, but I was hurting my family at the same time.
A lot of men, I think, can resonate with that. You're supposed to have it all together. You're
It's what I
supposed
was
to
taught.
protect the family, not show emotions, right? And when you do show emotions, then you're being weak, right? Or you're being too feminine, or this is especially I think there's going to be a big shift because the millennial generation raising the new generation of boys, I think will be different
Yeah.
than the boomers raising the
But
generation.
there's a difference, right? I think we've gone down multiple paths there, and I'm not to interrupt you, but like
Yeah.
I think that sometimes now there's a certain way because I think a lot of men have gone too far.
Yeah. Like too soft?
They
What do you
went
mean?
too soft. They let the pendulum swing too much, and then now they're putting women when they don't have to be in that masculine role.
That is true.
And I mean, and look, it's not a bad thing to be masculine or feminine. You
We're
want to have
both.
a
We have
both. You
both.
want to have both in there,
We have both
but you
energies.
also have to be able to, as a man, you do have to have a masculine role in the relationship to a certain extent to allow your partner to flow into hers, which is a more natural way of being. And I'm not saying that you can't, because you
I think,
you
and I
freaking
don't,
run the company and stuff like that. But
this is the challenge with my generation of millennials. And it will be interesting to see how the younger generation, but we sort of been in this break the glass ceiling, right? Lean in. That was Cheryl Sandberg. That was like huge, right? And so it was all about get in, rise up, get to that table. And in many ways, do it at the cost of other female relationships, all the cattiness, and that toxicity is still rampant in many culture and many company cultures. You still see women not supporting each other,
yeah,
or women that feel like they got to be with the dudes, right? I got to go golfing, and then it's the bros. That culture is not gone. It isn't. And in fact, even in the not even if in the entrepreneurial world, many rooms we've sat in, I've said to you, wow, look at this agenda, amazing lineup of men, or where are the other women that could participate in this conversation? And so,
do
listen,
you always think that it's the
but the reason,
groups that are doing that, Rachel? Or do you think that not a, and this is, we've had this conversation before too,
yeah,
that there's a lot of women that do not even apply to speak or to be at
yeah,
that level because men and women look at things differently. If there's a list of things that you have to be accomplished to be able to apply
yeah,
for something like a speaking thing, if I got one or two, I'm like, cool, I'm good. You want to be able to go through,
yeah, you go
and
with the
a lot of
resume.
women want to go and
It's,
go, well, I need all 10 to be even
yes,
apply, so
the,
I'm
of
not even
course.
going to try.
A woman doesn't have 100% of the job requirements, they don't apply. A guy has 50%, they apply. And there's a lot of data behind that. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of conversations happening here. I think part of
What
that
is that? What we
specific,
usually do? Is it my ADHD that's going in the
yeah,
circles?
I mean, but I think it's interesting all together. And I mean, now we're ending 2025 after a year of massive disruption to every single piece of what we do. And guess what, people? Not going to change for many years. Like, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, the rights that females, our parents, people we work with that are incredible women's rights movement, what they've put together has been shattered, right? Here in Texas, no more DEI. In fact, if you start saying against what's in the Bible and whatnot, there we're seeing people getting fired.
Ooh,
And so
careful.
I know, but I don't care. This
No,
is the reality of what's happening. And so to your thing about like the woman, right? And we were looking at this
whoa,
stage,
calm down. It's not the woman.
the women. You're looking at this stage, I think, in the more progressive bring women along with us, which men really need to take a stronger stance on, our allies. You would consciously say, hey, we're looking for women, right? This is part of the challenge of all this DEI going away. Because we're assuming that the unconscious bias has been shattered in many people's mind, which it hasn't, and that they're thinking, I need a woman, or I need a black guy, or I need this, but most people are not. And so there's both that need to happen. So women need to get past that imposter syndrome and go for it, but doing so in a way that is like this feminine and masculine balance. And that's the challenge. I certainly, and many of my female colleagues, we've lived in a very masculine, continue to live in a very masculine state. we want to have it all, right? That's these movies. You can't have it all. Like, and it's
But
true.
what is
You
having it
can't
all?
you can't have it all at once. And I think I'm glad we're like circling back here to this invisible load. I think what breaks men and women, but and more so women, because we have this guilt,
Okay.
especially as the mompreneur, and we our brain. Remember Barbara and gender intelligence, like
Yeah.
a female brain. This is science. We're active thinking substantially more than male's brain. It's science.
What?
Yeah. So because of that, we're just carrying a lot, and therefore we overload
So what
ourselves.
you're talking about is like where I'll make a statement and it's a throwaway statement. We move on, and then
I'm still
you're still
processing.
processing it 24 hours later, and you'll
Yeah.
go back in the conversation. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh, this happens all the time. Like Josh will say something that's like, whatever.
A true throwaway statement.
Okay, let's bring up the example. He was like,
Wait, what example are we going to talk about? Because
the salt
oh,
example.
okay.
Yeah. So like,
I got to be careful, y'all.
yeah,
I
no, this
say a
is
lot of dumb.
easy.
I say a lot of dumb shit. So
But Josh and I both this year, and because we've had so much stress, we've been in such fight or flight. Our body has been breaking down in different ways. And
my cortisol going through the roof. Your
mine too.
adrenals.
It's to say, yeah, but yeah, all of it. Like, and so we've been working towards rebalancing and different ways in our routine.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be continuing to do that into 2026, and already are seeing positive results. One of those things is a lot of electrolytes. And for both, like that's just in general, everyone needs more electrolytes.
You just want to talk about the salt thing just because you did the research on it to show.
No, but this is like a perfect example.
You're proving a point while we're on the podcast.
No, I'm just showing the way the brain. This is Rachel's brain, and maybe some other female will resonate with this.
Okay.
So Josh is like,
to the story.
Yeah. Okay. Because I put a teaspoon. I'm being recommended to put a teaspoon of water into a teaspoon is a lot, by the way. You put it in your water and drink that first thing in the morning as a way to like really hydrate. And Josh is like, your cholesterol is going to go up. That's a lot of salt. And that's not true. And I like looked into it a little bit, and there's a big difference between real salt, like sea salt, and what the salt that you're going to get on table salt, right? That's been iodized salt. And that is what's in all the processed foods. And that's been what we've been told is really bad. But sea salt and putting in there, not bad, not the same. But again, I came back like a day later, like he mentioned this. And then this morning I was like, hey, by the way, this, and he was like, you're still like, what? Like
I mentioned comment about salty water. That's it.
Yeah. Like, but that is exactly what's happening in our brains, and why we go back into the masculine, why we're exhausted.
But Rachel, I think this is also too good and bad, right? Like when we come back to like running the company, your attention to detail and being able to go into running a business, it's amazing to be able to have that. Now, what I do think that takes back sometimes is that your ability to be able to make the decision as quick as you need to when you're a young startup entrepreneurial business and stuff like that, because speed and agility is key into building businesses. And so sometimes I'm like, cool, do it, let's go. And in Yobi, we haven't thought of every single angle yet. And I'm like, no, I looked at a lot of angles. I mean, I've done this for a bit, right?
Yeah.
It's good.
And I've gotten a lot better.
I think it's, I'm like, look, I'm 80% sure, I want to make the call, and you have gotten better, but I think that's those things, right? And I think that's why we work well together, because I'll help us push to make the decisions that we need to quickly, but you also be able to hold me back and say, wait a minute. Because look, I've made dumb decisions before too, where, if you ever read my book, Balance is Bull, the first section is all about me being in Vegas at the Playboy Club at the Palms Casino in Vegas. And I made a handshake bet with a buddy of mine that had recently sold his company for, I don't know, 20 something $million. And I bought source code without doing my due diligence. And it was a $1.5 million bet, so to speak, that ended up costing me $10 million over the next year.
It's a perfect example too about like bad masculine, right? Just
Well,
like,
that was. We were sitting there
yeah,
playing cards, drinking.
let me just
We
put
were
my
measuring.
big and like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't say that.
what?
We're just doing a measuring contest.
Yeah, exactly. It's such, and it's not thought
Got to
through.
reel her back in, y'all. Like, sometimes. So that's where due diligence would have been much better, but I made the decision. I'm going to go with it. Like, that's just, no, I'm not going to, you can't call me back. Well, sometimes we don't make the right decisions.
Yeah, and a big piece of, we're all holding a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of change. Everybody's world feels big and heavy in many ways.
But awareness is that real work, right? I think that's the biggest thing that I
And
think
yeah,
most people pay attention to is that when you're trying to divide your lives in half, like it doesn't work. And it's
yeah.
not leadership that needs to be able to put that on you. It's your own leadership and to honestly lead yourself first. I mean, it's kind of what I tell the kids, which is you can't expect someone to respect you if you don't respect yourself first. Right. So, in the same aspect of it, right, you have to be able to lead yourself on the unseen, the emotional and mental labor that's going on. I can't go in and try and be able to, I can try to help. I can be there. I can, if I try to give you advice on how to be better or change or shift what mood you're in, you will look at me a lot of times and go, I just need you to hear me,
Mhm.
just hold space,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's where the
Yeah.
whole aspect is. Once Rachel has to be able to be in that space first, or me, vice versa, to be able to understand that unseen what's happening to even allow another person in.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and then, I mean, I think we just get to accept what we cannot change. I mean, that serenity prayer, I say it all the time to myself. We need to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And running a business, being a mother, being a father, being a leader, community leader, philanthropist, whatever you are, like we all have like our little carve, in our world and in our time and our space reality. And so I think that's what our share is with you. If you're feeling like this, number one, we get it. Number two, I think a couple things that we'd love for you to take away that we've been using over the last couple years to help us do better. And then as we're looking at 2026, and we have so much that we want to create, and hopefully there's a little less crisis we're in. We're really thinking about one of the key takeaways from here is balance is bullshit.
Okay. I'm like sitting here like, where are we?
Balance is bullshit. And it's first about, like you said, that awareness and then acceptance.
Right. I mean, it is. I mean, it's you got to be able to pause sometimes and be able to
All
reflect.
the time.
Because I mean, we have so many things running at the exact same time. Like
Yeah.
it's just one of those pieces.
Yeah. And you get kind of caught, like you get caught in the feed, right? You get caught 20 minutes before, it's time to rest. It's time to put your brain and go to sleep. Yet you're caught on the feed looking at that doesn't really matter. Those are things that
And I think right, like
yeah.
some of this too is like this is why we started Humanize Your Brand, because this is why we're talking about this. Like some people might come in here to be want to go, okay, well, teach me about LinkedIn or teach me about marketing or branding, because that's what we have a lot of we have a lot of knowledge in, but we also have a lot of knowledge in
Lifing.
lifing. And this is what I really hope for everyone to be able to take away from this is like we're going to be sharing the good, the bad, the ugly of our one life, and not just our one life, right? Like the people that we're going to be bringing on to showcase that are doing the same, right? That maybe you have seen them and they run and they have this amazing personal brand. They're very well known, and that's what Rachel really and I are hoping to do. And really want y'all to be able to keep following in, because we're gonna bring some people on and they're gonna say some things that you've probably never heard them talk about before. And it's not only gonna be freeing for them, but freeing for you as well.
Another thing, as we wrap up this conversation, we all need support. You're not alone. None of us are alone, even if it feels like that. And certainly, Josh and I, we have, whether it's mental health teams, from therapists to doctors, community masterminds, there's business relationships. Like
Talk to your little duck.
we have and continue to call in at this point in our life, especially as we're creating a new venture with YOUmanize, we're calling in everybody, right? There's nobody that, like, all the networking, all those connecting that we talk about on LinkedIn, this is for us the time where we're really looking for the support and asking for it. And if you don't do that, then you're really doing a disservice to yourself, because we are all connected, and you'd be shocked at how many people want to support you, even if you have no money. It's not, there are people that want to support you, including us, if you're listening. So
Yeah.
maybe you just want to reach out to us and vent, and we're here for you.
I mean, there's been so many groups that I've been a part of over the years of, fantastic entrepreneurs around the globe
Yeah.
that are doing amazing things. And I can't tell you, Ray, how many times that we've sat back like, man, like if we just opened up and supported each other, we probably wouldn't need any other clients
Yeah.
outside of but it never freaking happens.
No.
And then so we get it. It's not easy to be able to do. So, that's kind of that aspect. I just want to kind of put that in there. Like, it's not just the stay-at-home mom or the dads or the business owner or the employee. Like, every single person on all different levels, we see this happening time and time again.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think this is a really important episode as we close out 2025, head into 2026. Please reach out to us. LinkedIn, the Rachel B. Lee, the Joshua B. Lee, Instagram, wherever you want to connect with us. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you back next week.
Bye, y'all.
If today's episode sparked something in you, you don't have to keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's building something with heart. And hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
If you're ready to humanize your brand now and show up with soul, grab our free guide, 3 Hidden Signals, at standoutauthority.com/3, the number 3, hidden signals. We'll see you soon.